In this lesson, we're going to learn how to round to the nearest tenth. In order to round to the tens place, you need to know where the tens place is located. The tens place is located right next to the decimal. For rounding to the tenths, you'll also have to know that the hundredths place is right after it. But the most important thing to remember is that the tenths place is right next to the decimal. When rounding, you always need to know the important fact that when the numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4 follow the place that you're rounding to, you'll need to stop and you will not change the number in the place where you're rounding. However, if you have a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 following the place that you are rounding, then the number in that place will go up. Let's take a look at the number 53 hundredths. If we wanted to round this number to the tenths place, we'd first have to look at the number that is in the tenths place. And there's a 5 in the tenths place. But in order to decide if we are going to round this number up or if it's going to stay the same, we need to look to the number that is in the hundredths place. And since there's a 3 in the hundredths place, we'll see that there's a 3 right here, and that says stop, or that the number in the tenths place should stay the same. So when you round this number, it is going to become 5 tenths, because the 3 is telling you that the 5 should be staying the same, that you should stop and just keep the 5 the same. Now let's look at the number 57 hundredths. The first thing we do is we take a look at the number in the tenths place because we're rounding to the nearest tenth. So if we look, there's a 5 in the tenths place. But now we need to look at what number is after it. I see that there's a 7 there. And the 7, when you see a 7, it means you need to make the number in the tenths place go up. So the 7 tells you to go up. So when we look at that, we see since the 7 tells the 5 to go up, the 5 will go up just one number. It'll go up to a 6. And everything after always becomes a 0. And everything after is a 0. So you could put on as many zeros as you want to after, but it still would not change that in the tenths place you would have rounded it to 6 tenths. Let's take a look at one more that sometimes can be a little bit tricky. Now we're still rounding to the tenths place, so I find the number that's in the tenths place, and I see that it's a 9. So now I need to do the same thing. I look at the number that is after the tenths place. So I look over and I see that there's an 8 after the tenths place. And when I see an 8, it tells me that I need to go up. Well, if I go up, I'm going to get, from 9 I will go up and I'll get a 10. And if I get a 10, I can't put 2 digits in the tenths place. I also can say that if I go up from a 9, I would go to a 10 that looks like this. Because this 10 actually just says that I have 1 in the tenths place. And if I started with 9 in the tenths place, I can't go up and say I only have 1 in the tenths place. So now what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to truly round it up. And if you're truly rounding it up, you are going to go from a 9 in the tenths place to a 1 in the ones place. So you would round up if there is ever a 9 in the tenths place and you need to round up, it will become 1 whole. Because if you have 10 tenths, we learned that 10 tenths makes 1 whole. So Since the 9 rounds up to be 10 tenths, we know that that rounds up to 1 whole.